Hi there, my name's Kathy Barker from Software Solutions, and you're looking at a video that's part of a collection of videos about how to create reports and visualizations in Power BI. Let's have a look. We are in the report canvas, and I can see that clearly here, and that is because we've hit the report button on the left-hand side. In an earlier video, we navigated between the report view, between the data view. When you're in the data view, you can actually click on various queries on the right hand side and look at the data. And we talked about how some of these columns were dim because those columns have been hidden. You've also got the model view on the left hand side, which is where we set up our data model. So I'm going back to report view. So those are some of our views. Up in the top corner here we have a save button, which I'm going to click and save my file, sales analysis. And I'm going to regularly hit that button so I don't lose anything, and I'd like you to as well. We've also got a ribbon across the top here, and we will be using a lot of the options that you see in the ribbon. On the right hand side, we've got all our tables, and inside of each table is a collection of fields that we can add to our report canvas and create visualizations. And the types of visualizations that we've got here appear in our visualizations pane. We've got a collection of different types of visualizations, and in this course and through these videos, we're going to look at the bulk of these, if not all of them. We've also got a filters pane, which for me is currently collapsed, but I can expand the filters pane by hitting these two chevrons. And so this filters pane is a way of controlling and filtering a certain visual, a certain page, or all pages. And so I'll collapse that again. So you can collapse any of these panes and expand any of these panes, especially if you're like me and working on a laptop where screen real estate is a premium. Now in the bottom left corner we're seeing page 1, but you can also add as many pages as you need in your report, and we'll be looking at that. And also in the bottom right corner you've got a fit to page option, which reduces the size so it fits on a page, or you can zoom in and zoom out using these sliders. Be aware also you can hold the control key and wheel in and wheel back to zoom in and out if you have a wheel on your mouse. So that's sort of an overview of your screen and the different parts that make up your screen. Now what I'm going to do is start by adding some of the fields to this page 1. And so on the fields pane, what you can do is hit the chevron in front of, say, categories and expand dim categories. And the columns or the fields that haven't been hidden are now able to be seen. Now I'm going to grab category name and I'm going to drop it on my page. And immediately a table is created. Now I can move this table just by dragging it. And I can resize this table by going to any of its corners or its sides and resizing. So a table has been created where there's a single instance of each category in alphabetical order. Now let's say I wanted to close category, so I just hit the chevron. Notice there's a little sort of indicator there and also a little indicator here, trying to basically indicate that that is where data is coming from and being used in this page of the report. Now for each category, I'd actually like to know how many units we've got in stock. So I'm going to expand the products table, and I'm going to add the units in stock to my table. So I just drop it in there. And now I can immediately see we have a total of 3,119 units in stock. 559 of those are beverages. The other thing to notice is on the visualizations pane, the columns field or bucket, I like to call it, is showing me category name. And if I rest on it, it says this comes from the table or query called dim categories. And this is the units in stock, which is actually summing the units in stock field from the query called dim products. And of course, we've got a little indicator saying there's something coming from products and there's something coming from categories. You can right click a query and you could expand all, and that way you can see clearly all the fields and what's been ticked and what's been unticked, and scroll up and down. You can also right click and collapse all, and that hides everything and just saves you physically going down and collapsing them. So we've created a table, and I'm just going to resize it so that no scroll bars appear, which means I'm seeing everything. And that table is basically just showing the number of units in stock by each category. And I would like to save my file, so I hit my save option. And besides the buckets here, you also have the ability to format a visual. So I have this visual selected, which is a table, and I can format various aspects of that visual. Each one of these is able to be opened and closed. For example, I could go into here and choose a style, maybe bold header, and it looks like that. Or I could go in here and choose maybe condensed, and it looks like that. So these are all formatting aspects. And sometimes it's best to search because some of the visuals have so many formatting options that it's hard to find what you're looking for. So if I wanted anything font related, I would type font. And anything in the collection that's font related will then be shown to me, and I can narrow down, and then I can just close it. So formatting your visual is here. Building your visual is here, such as the buckets. And this is analyzing. So further analysis can be done on certain visuals, and we'll look at all three of these a lot during this series of videos. So I'm going back to the adding data or the building of my visual. Build visual, and if I click this, format visual, and if I click this, analytics. So those are the names of those various buttons. Now, with regards to your pages at the bottom of your screen, we talked about the fact that you can have multiple pages in a report, and adding a page is simply a matter of clicking this button. But some people will right click, and that will allow them to duplicate a page or rename a page. Or some people will actually go up to the ribbon and they will choose to insert a page. And that's just by going to insert and choosing page and choosing blank page or duplicate page. I find it's just as easy to just hit this plus at the bottom to insert a page rather than navigate through the ribbon. I want to rename this page, and just like Excel, I can just double click, and that's the easiest way to rename a page. And I want to rename this page in stock. So I'm just going to type in stock. Oops, double click, in stock. So you're allowed spaces when you name your pages. Okay, so I've named that page. Now I want to create another page just by hitting the plus, double click its current name and call it on order. So inserting a page is done with this, renaming a page is double click, deleting a page can be done with this little X here, but remember you can also right click to duplicate, rename, delete, and even hide a page. So a lot of similarities, I guess, to Excel if you're used to working with sheets in Excel. Now going back to in stock, I'd like to add a title to the top of this page, and that means I'm wanting to add a text box. So on the home tab, there's text box here, and if I don't have anything selected, I just click on a blank part of the report canvas and I click text box, there it is there. Then I just start typing in stock report. That's what I want to see. If I press Control A, that selects all the text, and if I go here, I can change the font size to say 18. I can then resize the text box so it's closer to the text, and then I can move it and put it at the top. Now if you resize your text box just a smidgen too much, you'll end up with this thick border on the side. The thick border basically visually says there are some elements in that text box that you're not seeing. And so if I ever see a thick border, I click on the text box and I slightly increase it so that I know I'm seeing all the text in that text box. So watch out for those thick borders. All right, so we've got our text box added, and I would like to also add a text box to on order. So I click on the on order page, I'm going for text box, I simply type stock on order report. I then press Control A to select all the text, and I increase the font size to 18. You can also change the font type, font itself. I like Segoe, and I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. This is a type of font that is purpose-built for mobile devices that make it really easy to read the text. So I tend to stick with the default, but you do have a number of options in here. But Segoe is specifically designed to be easily read on any device, tablet, phone, etc. And then I'm just going to resize this text box, push it into the corner, and I've got my title on my on order page. Now I'm going back to my in stock, and I'm actually thinking that I would like to format this table differently. So I'm going to click on this option here, and if I go into my format visual and into my style presets, and I'll have a look at maybe minimal. No, I don't like the look of that. So decide on the look that you like. I'm just having a look at all the different options here. Contrasting is quite severe. Flashy is quite flashy. Don't really like that. Sparse and condensed. I think I'm actually going to stay with condensed for now. Save your Power BI file, and we're starting to create visuals. We've created a table and we've created text boxes. Come back for the next video.